So you may wonder which components are actually displayed here in the component manager. For example, in the all component usage tab, or the full comp import tab, or here the component editor, which is just a filter on the full comp import tab. But yeah, how does the component manager determine which segments, which calculated metrics, and which date ranges are in here? To cut it short, the segments, calculated metrics, and date ranges that an admin can see in the list here, just by using the show all filter. This is also the segments, calculated metrics, and date ranges that the component manager will show. So anything an admin can theoretically see will be in the component manager. However, what about like ad hoc segments? So in workspace, you can create ad hoc segments, for example, like this. I just drag in countries and then say equals all islands, apply. And now I've created a temporary or a private non-public segment. This segment will not show up in this list here. And you see it's not as dark blue as a segment that I drag in from the left side. So on the left side, the same segments are visible than the ones that you see here in the segment list. So this is dark blue, this is light blue. And if you hover over this eye icon, you see that this is only visible in the project where it was created, and it's not available in your component list. So if you click this, it becomes a dark blue segment, and then it's no longer a private segment, and it's going to appear in the list here, and it will also be in this list here, and thus also in the component manager. So let's just do this. Let's save. Now it's no longer dark blue but light blue. You see it also appears here. When I click on I, there's no mention of a private or non-public segment anymore, and it's a normal regular segment now. Same goes for calculated metrics and date ranges. So let's, for example, create an ad hoc date range by right-clicking on the metric and say add time period. And I just choose, for example, prior month to this date range. Now it has created a November the 1st date range and a November 1st to November 30th date range. And if I click on I again, I see again, this date range is only visible in the project where it was created. So it will not appear in the list of the date ranges here. And last but not least, you can create calculated metrics. If I use the create metric from selection, for example, let's take a not so sensible example, but here I've created a calculated metric. And again, if I click on the eye icon, info icon, I see that this segment is not, this calculated metric is not a public one, but I can make it a public one again by clicking here. And again, making it public doesn't mean it's shared with everybody. It just means it's a segment that people can start sharing with others, and that it can be, or a calculated metric, and it can be a calculated metric that can be used across workspaces and not just in this one. So I see it's up here, and now I can still now share it to others. If I now click all, then it's shared to everybody, but the sharing status has nothing to do with the fact that a segment, a calculated metric, or a date range is private or public. So again, only public segments, date ranges, and calculated metrics show up here. This also means, of course, when we look at the matches, so for example, matching projects count, since the segment is not here, or the component is not in the list, then we'll also not have any information on whether it matches projects or alerts or whatever. What about dimensional value filters? So Adobe handles this in two different ways. So I can click, for example, here, and then I can drag Albania here into the top. That creates, and you see this by the blue color, that creates another ad hoc private segment. Again, I can choose to make this a public one, or then it will appear in the list here. But if I don't, then it will not appear. I can also, however, drag Albania into a table, for example, here as a dimensional value filter. Let me remove this from the top. Now this is not a segment. This is a dimensional value filter. You see, it's yellow, and it comes from the dimension countries. And if I did the same thing for example, an EVAR, let's take EVAR 1, and I would choose email, for example. This time I do it as a breakdown. Now, will marketing channel, will the component manager show that the dimension marketing channel is used in this particular project, test project? Yes, it will, because this is not a segment, this is a dimensional value filter. So for the dimension marketing channel, I will see this project here in the list, and it will count to the matching projects count. So dimensional value filters, yes, will show up in usage or in matching projects, or in matching in matches total. Ad hoc segments, date ranges, and calculator metrics, private ones, however, won't.